little intro about you. Not too much now, because I'm going to walk down that road where a lot of us. So don't do a spoiler right now. Just a little bit, and then
let's make it a summarized elevator pitch. So here we go.
nice.
Glen Owen, Kingston, Jamaica, Jubilee Hospital to be exact. Jubilee, right there in the heart of downtown Kingston. So my first 18 years in Olympic Way, people might know Cockburn, Penn, that area. Then went to Haile Selassie, not by choice, but that's another story to come as we unfold.
Sure.
And also I left for the States in 1992. I have not looked back since, but there were some moments when I felt like, you know what, I want to go back home. Again, to be continued. But
Okay.
let's roll on from there. Yes.
Sure. Well, thank you for that.
Right.
More will be revealed as we go through this reasoning, and we want to start with how we met, because it also ties into a little bit about my teaching experience.
Indeed.
I had recently moved to Florida, and
Right.
having left the military. Had my daughter. I'd left the military for a number of years, really, because I had my daughter. That was when we came. My youngest
Right.
daughter is when we came to Florida, and so I started teaching at Lakeware Middle School, and it was during the first maybe few weeks of me starting to teach, got my classes going and getting into the rhythm that. Somehow we met, and I didn't recall, but you remembered. So go ahead and share.
The clarity of that connecting is so clear for me. It's like yesterday, because when I do my reflection, I'm like, why did I do all these things that I didn't really want? I lived in Atlanta for a number of years. Love it, like I told you privately. I love it because of the heritage and the presence, if I may, of Black excellence. Loved it.
Yes.
But
always move there. I always like to move there.
Loved it. I mean, Dr. King's hometown, it just is a great place for you to see images, sights, and sound of Blackness at its best. So I loved it. But for some reason, it was never working out for me. So reluctantly and grudgingly, I moved to Florida because of a change in my personal life, by which I was raising my kids by myself. And it's two of them, twins. So I did the move. And the irony is that I have accomplished more in Florida in terms of personal dreams and ambitions and milestones than all the previous years combined. And one of them is where we met. Unplanned, unscripted, unscheduled, because what happened, the resource officer, the police officer who's stationed at Lakeware Middle, is a close friend of mine. He's Jamaican. He knew you. Of course, he knows me, and he knows about your work. I'm not sure if you both talk or he approached you and said, you know what, I know a guy.
Yes. Well, because I moved when of course, when you're Jamaican in the States and you hear of another Jamaican. So when I started at Lakeware, he may have noticed me because I had locks at the time. And so he approached and you share, we're Jamaican. And then that is how that conversation probably unfolded. Because I couldn't remember that. So I was brand new to the school as well.
Yeah. So we were introduced. And then you made an offer if I would be willing to come in and speak to your kids. I'm like, what's their age? I think they were in the 8th grade, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
And I'm like, are you crazy? I only perform for adult audiences. Kids, they're not even going to know what I'm saying, especially because of the accent and so on. And let alone the concepts and the themes and the information, they won't get it. Not a good idea. So I resisted initially. But you're too persuasive. Not even Oprah can compare or compete with your persuasive skills. So I'm like, okay, Karen, I'll do it. And you sign me up.
Nice. And I'm telling you, I have the inside view of the response to you after you left. You impacted the class. You came in did your thing. And I had a little bit of apprehension as well, because I'm new, I'm bringing this person in. It was all, but their responses to you, the poem, and I'm going to ask you to share that poem in a bit, was just so impactful, and it resonated with them. And as a result, they really got into that assignment. We were doing a section on poetry, and I wanted them to express their emotions and feelings, and so I tied that all in. So you and what you performed was so perfect and timely. Once again, we're talking about things that are not necessarily we call them synchronistic, but things are unfolding in a bigger picture than we are able to see. We are playing our role in a part. So that was how, when we talk about our connection initially, and then where we are now, which we will progress through, it talks about that synchronicity, and I am not minimizing it by any means.
When the creator or God decides that you need to go because you were born for a reason, whether you want to call the Jonah story a fable or it's just a metaphor in regards to him being told to go to Nineveh, and he said, "Nah, I'm not going. Well, I'm going to get a whale to swallow you." So whatever you make the story, the point is he had to eventually go. In my case, I was forced to come, and here we go. I get a chance to nourish my soul, which is a part of sharing my poetry, writing more poetry, and expanding my work. Wow. I decided to seize the moment, and thank you for playing your role is God inspired and unbeknownst to you.
Well, I think, you as well, and this is what I'm saying in terms of our connection, it is inspired because, and I mean, I'm so happy you're even wearing the shirt. Yes. And that will unfold as well, because there's a reason for you doing that. I wanted to have you share with us, first of all, the name of your first book, because the book, when you came in the class,
I have a copy of it here. This is it.
There it is. I remember I had several copies with me for a little bit after, because students were buying them. What is the name of that book?
Mine is tattered, like it's in pieces and parts. Had so many years, but I said, let me bring it out of the archive just for you, Empress. Here it is.
That is, so what's the title of it? And tell me what inspired that book?
That book it came to life because I was performing my poetry for different adult audiences, and they were liking my work. Everywhere I went, they were liking my work. I'm like, I never felt it had the capacity for an entire compilation. I didn't think so. Because sometimes when you have these gifts, you kind of take for granted that it's just you and your private moments that this gift have any value. And then they start to resonate with people, and they're showing how much it's affecting them in a very positive way. I said that was a sign for me to galvanize them all into one combined catalog. And there it was.
So these poems are poems that you wrote?
All original. All
original poems.
Yeah. And if I may, Empress, I would love, and you want me to do the one that I did for your class, reprise that one. Sure. But I like to share with you, since you talk about if these are original. The very first poem I wrote was in 1975. I was 15 or 16 years old. I still remember that poem word for word without reading it. And it's called, and very appropriately, it's called The Black Child's Rage. And the story is like this. I saw a neighbor giving her daughter a bath. She was very black. She was like African, like black. She just came, Wow. And because, in Jamaica in those days, the perception that if you're too black, it means you're at a disadvantage. You need to get some coloring to kind of lighten it up, so you're not at risk of not getting any opportunities because you're so black. So she got this brush. You may recall this, when you manually wash your clothes with a scrubbing brush.
Yes.
She got one that stings, and it's new.
Yes, I know.
And she applied that brush to that child's skin. The screaming was excruciating. And that's a young, here I am 15 years old, already with the sensibilities. It's like, I need to document this because I've got to get it out. It's called the
Wow.
Black Child's Rage.
Wow.
She gives pain. She's born. She cries. As she grows, her hair becomes kinky, her skin becomes black, her features are wrong, her future is black. She's got to be changed before she's doomed. First the comb, then the brush, and all the biting, agonizing pain. Why? I don't want this skin. I want to be proud of something. Release me from my sin. So I bleached and I burned. My life must turn, but what will I earn? I am black. I can't change that. She gives pain. She's born. She cries. She's life. She's ebony, Nubian beauty, alive, a princess of royalty. I realize that now. The Black Girl Express, the Black Child's Rage, to be continued.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Wow. You know, I'm wondering how you were able to, at 15, bring that emotion into you and express it that way, in such a, and the way you concluded, it is so beautiful, as it's even indicating the beauty of women. How were you able to tap into that?
When you, poetry for me, and maybe even music for that matter, is an interpretation that combines the intellect and the emotions. It's one of the reasons why, to your point, as a teaching model, I'm going to get there eventually at some point, I'm sure. When you can combine the emotional with the intellectual, learning is not just taking place, learning will exist and prevail for a long, long time. And that's a thing that you discovered why the project-based approach teaching strategy is so effective.
Yes.
I mean, it's so many years, it's like 50 years. And I still remember that piece like I say the words as I'm looking at you right now. It doesn't leave you. When you combine the emotional with the intellectual, that's why Marley was so good. With very little education, but he combined the two. And we know that. So let's not go there, Marley. That's a podcast by itself right there.
Right.
But that's what it is.
Nice. I tapped into that.
Yeah.
When I was engaging with some students and athletes this weekend at Haile Selassie,
Right.
and I went back into that mode. So I will touch a little bit about that
For sure.
later on. What I wanted you to do now is share with us what happened just after you left class, and what were you engaged in? And then I want to move into the next book that you wrote and where that came from. So after you left my class, what happened?
Your students convinced me after that experience and that interaction with them, 8th grade, middle school, my youngest audience ever. And much to my surprise, but delight, they were receptive, they were engaging, they were almost cerebral about it. Like, wow, the questions they were asking were really inquisitive and intriguing. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not really that age specific. It's really across the board.
Correct.
8th grade. And as a result of that, it convinced me to get the program into the high school. So if middle school kids can get it, come on, high schoolers, come on. Eventually, I had a program whereby I was going to 4 high schools in Marion County, Florida. 4 high schools. And then I had 4 prisons. But that's another story, by the way. 4 prisons. I was dealing with the same thing as a 6-week cycle program, whereby we're walking the kids through therapeutic poetry, getting them like you have done with your students at Lakeware to create their own poetry out of a response to that therapeutic experience of saying that I can overcome what brought me here. I can handle my crisis, at least begin the process of taking accountability and saying, hey, I see myself evolving. And their own poetry was part of their rehabilitation. Your kids are, I wish I could find those kids now, by the way.
I know, right?
But
Where
your
are they
kids
now? Yes.
gave me a template of
Mm-hmm.
how I can do this as a blueprint, and not just like for a certain group, a certain demographic, or a certain
Sure.
age group.
Sure.
So kudos to them, and kudos to you for
Wonderful.
sure.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
That speaks to purpose originating from.
And you're genius. Don't overstate sidestep that. You're genius in preparing them, that I, as an outsider with all my differences, could come in there and they could still receive it in a way that is life lasting and enduring. So
Well, and
kudos to you.
well, thank you. It wasn't a conscious decision. It was once again being led and just following that leading that says education is not just about programming students to do what we want them to do, but giving them a space to express their emotions, their gifts and talents, and encourage them to play their part in shaping the world. And that is a part of even our Jamaican national anthem, to play our part in the human race. What role do we play beyond just going to work every day and coming home, but playing a bigger role in the lives of the people with which we're engaging? And that was my approach to education. So it was just having you come in, sharing that, and it giving them an opportunity to express themselves through poetry was revolutionary. And I mean, the work that they provided was outstanding. And of course, how could you critique work that's coming from that space of from within?
Indeed.
So your work beyond the classroom has been to share your poetry, a part of yourself and your experiences, with others. And in so doing, you have been transforming lives, students and prisoners.
Yeah. Speaking of life transformation, though, Empress, if I may just quickly tell you what inspired me that the poetry format, art form is a way to go. When I first read the work of the master himself, I'm talking about the late, great Claude McKay, Jamaica's own Claude McKay. Oh, if we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. That even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us. Oh, kinsmen, we must defeat the common foe, though far outnumbered. Let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows, deal one death blow. The work of the late great Jamaican Claude McKay. Oh my God, that's his. That's what got me.
Nice.
That's what got
you
me.
see how powerful those words are, and the way in which the message is communicated so creatively. Words are powerful.
Yeah.
Words are important, not just the spoken word, but the written word. And I am encouraging students and people to go back to that. Even myself, I used to journal when I was younger, and I'm starting to journal again. And I encouraged the young men athletes at Haile Selassie over the 2 days that I was with them to start writing as well. So
yeah, in the beginning was the word, and the word was developed form, and the word became flesh. So everything that was before it was a thing was first conceived via thoughts and clothed into words. And that's why the Bible talk about the power of the tongue.
Correct. That's correct. That's correct. And the power of belief as well.
Oh gosh, sure. Absolutely.
So we'll talk about even that.
Absolutely. I like that, by the way. Belief. Yeah.
So now this is a great segue then into the other book that you wrote.
Right.
That is now you have available.
Okay. Go Papa go, baby.
Yes, I. Go Papa Go. So what was the inspiration behind writing?
The run was it. The run. So let's see how I make this now in a way. So by the way, Go Papa Go. The title was inspired by my granddaughter. She's just 8, She was 8 at the time. She's 9 now.
Okay.
And what happened, where that comes into relevance. So 2024 was the 55th anniversary for the existence of Haile Selassie. It was established, as you know, courtesy of His Majesty, making that donation to build a school in 1969 after his visit there in 1966. So in 66, he donated. In 69, the school was built. We were celebrating the 55th anniversary last year and decided to have the reunion gathering of graduates that we could get together in Florida for the first time overseas ever. And I'm like, I live here. I have kids who were born here. I have to do something consequential, something memorable. Maybe even crazy. So I decided in my madness, what about if I were to do a run walk from Ocala to Miami? We're talking about 300 miles. That would be amazing. But could I do it? So I did the first 2 days. I prepped for about 3 or 4 months, get my legs ready. Because there you guys, at the time I was 63 years old. But I'm good. I'm fit. I'm Jamaican now. I have the both genes in me.
You know how Jamaican leg them strong. You know,
all this walking that we do, man. So yeah, so the first 2 days were great, Empress. That was like 65 miles first 2 days. Day number 3, I could not get up out of bed. I could not rise out of bed at all. My knees were on fire. So I called my team and said, yo, I mean, God bless me. I'm sure, lofty ambition, because the idea was to raise funds from the run walk to donate to the school for students going on to college, trade school, and vocational school, whatever, any post-secondary program. That was the ambition, and I was driven by that. In fact, in the book is a chapter entitled The Urge to Serve, which was a motivating, driving force for me. But day number 3, I could not rise. Then my granddaughter overheard me saying that. She was eavesdropping, by the way.
She was over here.
She was living. She was here. She was like, Papa, go. I was stunned, Empress. So in silence, I look at her. A child is telling me to go. Who am I to stay in my slumber and just go through this pain and move and not do something? I got up, wobbling. But for some reason, when you move in pain seems to subside. What that does, Empress? When you move in pain seems to subside. So you're ready for the ride.
I wanted to pause you for a moment because you said something that you glanced over, but it is so important. Where you said the urge to serve, the need to serve.
That's the name. That's the title of one of the chapters.
One of the chapters is the need to serve.
No, the urge to serve.
And
I use the word urge because I like the way it sings the
surge. Sure.
The sound of it, the sonic effect of it. Sure. That's the reason why.
The urge to serve. I wanted to stop you there because you had to sacrifice, and we're talking about doing something for which you're not going to get any. You're not going to get any benefit from it other than knee pain and those things. So
maybe some bragging rights, but that's it. Nothing material for me.
Sure, absolutely. But you're doing this on someone else's behalf. Yeah. And I don't know how many people are still doing that today. I'm sure they are, but we're not hearing about them. Well, there are. We're only hearing about all the chaos and everything that is bringing down and being very destructive. But there are people like yourself and other unsung heroes who are out there serving. And we're not talking enough about that. So students and children and people don't see that example, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have this interview, to highlight that there are still angels among us. And when we're talking about synchronicities and a consciousness bigger than us that is working through us.
Indeed. Indeed.
When we're called to serve, if we don't do it like Jonah, we find that things might not be working out the way we're expecting them to. But when you step into that purpose and mission, things will unfold. And we're going to have
it's miracle territory. It's really the territory of the miraculous.
That's correct.
And almost the supernatural. That's why certain occurrences that enable or they are instrumental in materializing the end goal. For example, here I am raising $5,000 and I'm begging, literally asking people to support me. And I'm not sure if I've ever achieved that goal. But I didn't care. I felt like it was such a moral moral standing that somehow it will manifest itself. One donor gave me $900.
Wow.
And I was even reluctant to go to this person. I was just pressured. I did it just to quiet or to silence the person encouraging me to go to this donor. I'm like, you know what? Just I'll shut you up. I'm just going to go. Ironically, it was my biggest donor. And I met my goal of 5,000. My biggest donor was that person who gave me $900.
And here we go again in terms of belief. What we're talking about, the word and the things that we're called to do. And a lot of times, many times, it is the vision is bigger than what we could ever feel that we can do on our own. Because that run, the idea, when you said from Ocala to Miami, I'm going, are you serious? And the guts that I didn't even know how you orchestrated that.
Right.
But you did it. You stepped out, you did it, and even in pain. And when you're kind of, I don't know if I can do it, which happens when you're on that path many times, you have an encourager. Moses had one. Joshua was his encourager.
Yeah.
You know, encouraged them along. And in this case, Go Papa Go was your granddaughter who encouraged you. Come on, Papa.
9 years old.
Keep moving. Keep moving.
And guess what? Another thing, by the way, Empress, she almost never got born because, and I always request forgiveness for this. I was not pressuring my daughter, but because she was so young, I'm like, are you sure about this, boo? And we talked, and she said, yes, I'm going to have this child. And that same child turned around, and if I made dare say so, saved my life.
Wow. See? I know. Well, the things we consider mistakes and errors are not
detrimental. Yeah.
That's correct. They are ordained. Many times they're ordained. So
we can't see beyond the immediate. We have to have eyes that just don't see the physical. And that's why people who are blind can be so deep, because they are forced to look inner more than they can see outer.
Right. And it is because we can sometimes see the challenges, hear the challenges, the naysayers, that we don't move forward in faith, in belief.
Right.
And it is in that faith and belief that we move mountains. It only needs a little bit of a mustard seed to do that. And so you were able to, at least you were able to accomplish your goal. So tell us, how did the run walk end up? Were you able to achieve your goal? And tell us.
I want to just piggyback, or if I may connect a point you just made, because I don't know why I'm plugging the book, so forgive me. There's a chapter in the book British Roger Bannister, who ran the mile in under 4 minutes. And for about 50 years, no one even tried, because they believe the naysayers, they believe the experts, and they believe everything. And to your point, Karen, you still there? There you go. To your point, the belief was not raised until Bannister did it. 2 months after.
You were breaking up. I don't know if it was on my end or your end. But can you tell that story again?
So it's in the book, by the way. So Roger Bannister was a British dude, 25 years old, who was told, he was a runner, he was told that no one can run the distance of 1 mile under 4 minutes.
Oof.
If you attempt to do that, your body will just break apart. Kind of like entering from outer space and into a craft. It's like,
Wow. Wow.
and for 50 years, that belief prevailed. No one even tried because all the experts, all the naysayers were, nah, that's impossible.
I
You
don't
can't
want to
do it.
explode.
Yes, exactly. And
Fear.
Bannister said, forget you. And he did it in less, he made the mile in about 3 minutes and like 58 seconds.
What?
Well, you're the key to your point, though, Empress, about belief. 2 months after he did it, another guy in Australia did it. Because the belief was raised by what he saw. And then a year after, about 1,000 people did it. It's in the book.
It's in the book.
It's in the book, man. Get it?
Beautiful. And this is the message, really.
Exactly.
It is to step outside of our limiting beliefs.
Right.
And I want to ask you, because having written the book, well, tell us how it concluded first, because I want to talk to you about the whole
after thing. Successfully, to God be the glory, the completion of the run walk and raising the $5,000, I kept going over the journey of those 9 days, and I realized there were some lessons learned. They expanding your aquarium. I had to raise my belief level because on my own, because I don't know if anyone was ever, personal anyway, done any kind of a journey like that on foot. I don't know. I can't reference any example, any prototype, or any role model to work with for that. So I have to, but when I read Roger's story, I'm like, God, that is it. I have to expand my own aquarium internally. I said, I can do this. That was one of the major insights in the book, and why I feel like this book can be really helpful to others going through. Again, Empress, as you know, it's not about the physical run. It could be any endeavor. Any endeavor that you think that you're too old, or you're too black, or you're too slim, or you're too fat. Anything that tells you that you're excluded because of some, artificial reason, some, reasons that are really not, some superficial reasons that you kind of with your mind, not do the entire thing. Let's say you're inactive for a while. Don't go do a marathon, but take a step, take a few steps.
First, that's correct.
Start something.
Failure. Take baby steps.
You're too old for a degree. Why not? Getting a degree has no age specific. You just go. You have put off for long because of your family. Now is your time. Now go do it. That's correct. Pursue deferred dreams, because you don't have to be kept in the confinement that you're not allowed to say so.
That's correct. Absolutely. And many of the limiting beliefs we have they are external forces. They're telling us, and it is after time that we develop these things. Because when we're younger, we believe we can do anything and everything.
That's correct.
Even my return to Jamaica was as a result of that. The belief, people, Karen, don't go back to Jamaica, and what have you. And I'm going, I have lived in New York. There are parts of New York that are dangerous, and there are parts of New York that are not dangerous. I've lived in California, same thing. I have lived in China, same thing. Africa.
If you survive China, you can survive any part of the world.
I'm saying, so obviously the entire people are living here. People are moving to the island. Fear is not something we should allow us to stop our progress, our growth, our interest in exploring things. It is too limiting. Fear is debilitating.
I can only speak of the Christian tradition as far as teaching, but I'm almost certain that almost every faith tradition never every faith tradition does not let you or encourage you to indulge in fear. I don't think I know of one. It doesn't.
Correct.
In other words, because what fear does is create a void. And a void means you're leaving room for insecurity, for
Mhm.
like your doubt.
Mhm.
You're
It's true.
leaving room for like you become uncertain. And all
That's
those things do is to paralyze you and
that's
therefore not accomplish what you can. So as far as I know, I mean Second Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, God is not the need, God, fear, God is not a God of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind.
correct. That's correct. So whenever we encounter fear, and when we hear the word courage, courage is not the absence of fear. No.
Right.
Courage is in the face of fear, you still
Yes.
move forward. In the face
Right.
of my knees hurt, I'm moving forward. How did you get to this place? Now we're talking about Haile Selassie. I
Right.
spent time there over the past few days, and the community I
Right.
heard, because I don't know which community is good and bad and what have you, but when
Right.
I'm being driven through there, they're here. These communities are not the best communities to live in, and some people that come out of these communities, nothing good can come from them, or these circumstances. And I don't believe that. As a matter of fact, a lot of
Right.
the population that I have worked with in the past have been people from these populations, and genius and brilliance comes out of these
Right.
areas as well. I'm looking at one of them right now, and I'm not. And when I look at Haile Selassie High School, it's really sad to see the condition it is in, and so I'll discuss that later and how I plan to exercise my faith in doing my part in working with the school to bring it to the royal status that it belongs. But before we go there, there was one of the poems that you shared with my class. It's
Riverton City.
the Riverton City, and I wanted to share that with us now. And then I want you to kind of express how you come out of a place or circumstances and then have this sort of a positive outlook. So give us a taste of Riverton City, and then.
Before I get into it, so one
Sure.
of my, if I may, superpowers is the
Okay.
capacity for empathy.
Mm.
I can see, that's why when I was 15 and I saw this kid getting a bath using a washing brush, my sense of empathy kicks in and the flow of lyrics or the creative juices manifest in the poem, The Black Child's Race. So that's one of my powers. I can literally experience, like internalize a person's pain as if it were my own. I would make a great actor for that, I think, if I may be a bit of a brag.
You can embody the role. You can
I
be
can.
any
I
character.
can. Yes, and expose it and deliver it as if I'm the one actually going through it. So that's one of the things. But back to your question, though, I think that I didn't learn this very early on, but when I discovered that His Majesty, in whose name the school is named, in whose honor the school is named,
Correct. And who
was
built it for its building as well. Not just that,
indeed,
but he
yeah,
left as a legacy, yes.
indeed, indeed. So when I learned about a little bit more about His Majesty, thankfully through Rastafari, because I was introduced to that community, and like I may have told you privately, Empress, Rastafari filled the void of for me in terms of my ancestral legacy. I didn't know much about my Africanness. In fact, what I heard was stuff to be demonized or to avoid. And
Yes.
they say no, and they fix that. So I would never ever disown or look down on the Rastafari influence in my life. I'm not a Rastafarian, but I really gravitate and hold on to much of their truths because that's what that is. But the main thing for me was to understand that Ethiopia was the only African country to have been able to successfully resist colonialism and the invaders of the colonizers.
That's correct.
And that for me was so thought-provoking and empowering at the same time. I'm like, so I'm walking these walls and these corridors of this name after this man, and I'm not getting a sense of his energy. I am missing out. And that is when I start to embrace that and understand the psyche that works when I kind of realize that I'm part of an important, not just a physical institution, but a man's legacy and energy that permeate these spaces. There's no way you can say that your place is named after a certain person like that. I mean, from the tribe of Judah. You understand what that means? But we never understood it.
Right.
But thankful to Rastafari, I did. And that is, to answer your question, I felt like, therefore, I can achieve more than my situation.
Ah, beautiful. Beautiful.
And again, to your point, the stories we tell ourselves or tell our children, they matter. That's why Greek mythology is such a big deal for them, because those, even though they're a myth, they affect their minds and what they think they can do.
Wow.
We need our stories to be told about our greatness. And for a long time, we've done a bad job as far as doing that, because we were ashamed. And again, we were sold that by the classes, the colonizer class, because that's a way to control you.
That's correct. Limiting beliefs. You put limiting beliefs in people's minds about what they can do and cannot do, and you put them in circumstances in which they are feeling these emotions and they're vibrating on that level. Unless they can have the mind to move themselves, first their minds, then their bodies will be moved out.
Wasn't Marley ahead of his time, yo?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of all the rest is Peter Tosh. When you listen to reggae music, because there's another point to talk about in terms of when we hear reggae music is the music of the Rastafarian culture. It's almost like gospel music is to the Christians.
Yes,
right?
yes.
The words are meant to make you conscious and aware. And
it's liberation music.
It is liberation music.
It is.
And so
personally and collectively.
It is.
Yeah.
To make the distinction. So when you hear reggae music, I know we throw everything into that category. Yeah. But when you listen to Bob Marley, the words that were spoken, and even the words of that he spoke of His Majesty that you mentioned.
Until the philosophy that holds one race superior and another. Oh my goodness.
Superior. The words of His Majesty, you sing that out. And so His Majesty's presence and power, the words that were spoken, not just the spoken word now, that's one thing, from thought to word to action.
Yes.
Action. Yeah. That will move us in the direction of where our minds are. But it starts there at the head, And so the influence of His Majesty in that particular part of Jamaica.
It's a difficult part. Let's not gloss over that. That's a difficult population center.
It is.
It is.
But where else are you going to send lights? Where you mentioned that the other day about the lights. We send the light to the darkness. So we need to have that school in that community.
Precisely.
To be able to elevate the minds.
Yeah. So this is the oasis, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree. And to the credit of the community, for the most part, they've been protective of the school. They've been protective. I mean, there are some rogue elements who might, they're already everywhere, might do things to affect the school in terms of vandalism. But for the most part, the community is very protective of the school. And if word gets to certain forces and leadership in the community that you're doing that, there'll be adverse consequences.
That's true.
And
even the event that was hosted this week, because this week for His Majesty's 133rd Earth Strong.
Yes.
There was Dr. Rugu, one of the community resident, the school grandpa.
Yeah.
Event for the community as well as the football players. And so there was a tournament between Mona Prep and Haile Selassie High at the school.
Okay, cool.
Where they're in some events. The school had just gone through had some renovations, so communities coming back forward to help to bring the school back to the, not back to, but elevate the infrastructure of the school so that students can feel a certain, be elevated and empowered. So the bathroom.
Yeah, the visual representation affects your mood and everything else. Living in dilapidated, rundown, that's not good for your psychology. It's really not.
That's not. So it is then even more challenging to help someone to get out of a mindset when their surroundings, they don't have proper working toilets and waters. So those things are necessary for the students to eventually believe that these things are possible. And so this is where we are right now. So fortunately, there has been some work that has been done to provide proper facilities at the school, which is enabling the school to now host a football camp at the school.
Nice.
They utilize that. So it is taking shape and form right now as we're speaking.
Nice.
Yes. So moving to the next phase of this. Now, if someone wants to first of all, is your initial book still available for purchase?
Bootleg. Somebody is doing that. Yeah. I see it on different platforms and I have no way of knowing who's doing it, nor I'm not aware how to track it down.
Oh, and it's being sold.
Yeah. But sometimes you may have a person may have bought a book and they can put it for sale on eBay or wherever they want to.
Of course. I wonder if it's one of the students.
No.
That's interesting. So what about Go Papa Go then? How do we get access to
the usual Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and some other platforms? In fact, since May, when the book was officially released, my numbers last time I checked a week or so ago was like around 75 copies have been sold online. Now, bear in mind, as you know, Empress, those sales, the profits are not substantial. In fact, most of the profits will go to Amazon and the others. But I'm not going to badmouth them nor put them down because they reach a market that I otherwise would not have access to, like the UK, Japan, and Australia. So whatever little profit I get from them, whatever, I'm pleased to announce that I have my own inventory, and the months of August and September are being filled up as we speak. And yesterday, if I may make a breaking news here on this platform, after 2 years of pursuing a predominantly Caucasian church, finally, yesterday I met with a pastor and he has agreed for me to come in and share my poetry, the journey of the run walk, and of a book signing event at the church.
Oh, nice. So now, you see?
But I never stopped.
Baby steps.
I never quit.
You are so encouraging. And I mentioned to you that I didn't want to just purchase one book. I wanted to support you in a number of different ways. And so I am working with the football team club at Haile Selassie High School currently, hosting a writing workshop with them. Writing, of course, is a big deal. So working with them during the summer, during their camp. And I would like at the end of the program to reward
Which is when, by the way? When is the end of the program?
School starts in September, so the end of the program is of August. So around that timeline, I'll get the exact time frame so that we can coordinate this. But I'd like them to have a copy of your book, because when it comes to the topic of faith and being encouraging and believing outside of our own limiting beliefs, I've had that conversation with them recently, just over the past 2 days, because we were having the conversation about them either going to Disney, competing, in tournaments internationally. And the looks on their face were like, We can't do that. The amount of
By the
money.
way, and by the way, Empress, when is the date for those tournaments? Is that yet scheduled or to come?
Well, there are schedules that there are tournament schedules throughout. So Disney has tournaments in September, October, and November. They're ongoing tournaments, soccer tournaments, and there are sand soccer tournaments that are throughout the state and world. That is a big deal. Sand soccer, football, soccer on the beaches, and that's another.
And the kids do have passports.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
The kids who have, you said they have what?
No, the footballers in the camp, do they all have passports?
Oh, they don't all have that, but that is a part of the process.
Okay.
That's part of the walk. Some do and some don't.
Okay.
And so when we talked about limiting beliefs, the idea of going and traveling and going abroad because of the steps, you need a passport, a visa, and money and all these things, that seems to them impossible. Right. And while I was conversing with them yesterday, I asked, when they sort of looked like there was doubt, I asked them, I said, do you not believe that is possible? And
may I make a point because I want to underscore what you're saying right there before I forget it. The tagline on my book, the cover of my book says, you can never know what's possible for you until you embark on what's impossible for the rest of the world.
Ooh, for the world.
Really? You will never know what is possible for you until you embark on what the world say you can do.
True. Wow.
And that is important because the fact that Bannister did the mile under 4 minutes, and then all of a sudden everybody was doing it now, means that it could have been done from the beginning anyway.
Correct. That is correct.
It could have been done anyway, but they had to wait to see proof.
That's correct.
Now, your boys, and this might be a source, I think, of encouragement for them, your boys need to realize that you're not just playing football or soccer. You're trailblazers. You're groundbreakers. You're pioneers. You will be remembered for this for generations to come, long after we are no longer here. Correct. Understand the empowering role that you occupy. You're not just kicking a ball here. You're setting a stage for kind of greatness that is beyond football. And when you understand that role and embrace it, you'll see that these little so-called impossibilities are nothing. They're just stepping stone for you to get to where you want to go, so they can teach you a lesson in the process.
Wow.
That, I think, is what they need to. You're not just kicking ball. No, you're the Muhammad Ali.
Yes,
you're the Jackie Robinsons. You are doing something groundbreaking.
That's correct.
Wow. You're the guys like who the Cool Runnings movies based upon. This is it. Bobsled team. You are an original. You get it? And so
we are record breakers.
You are
from a record breaking island. I mean, come on.
If you think they're just another guy playing a ball, no. You have stepped into a role that is larger than life. And I guarantee you, generations to come will be singing your praises for a long, 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 long time. So you need to convey that to them and let them know that you think you're just kicking a ball. Nobody can do that.
That's right.
You're a trendsetter that will kind of set the template like, damn, so if those guys in 2025 did that, you can do this too. You're the Roger Bannister of football. Respect.
Nice.
Blessing.
Wow, well said.
It is true, I will
though. Convey that, but in the legacy of the God-man who was, his empire was not overrun by colonialists, was never taken over by colonialists. He pioneered that. So the legacy that they are walking in is in that level of excellence and expectation. And so I will remind them, and I will just play what you just said because I can't see it any better than you.
You think that's ordinary. Anybody can kick the ball. You're smashing barriers. You're kicking down the doors.
Correct.
You're breaking some ceilings.
Breaking it. Right.
Yeah, you're really, your status is iconic, like epic. They will call your name. You might end up being on a bill for some currency at some
Yeah.
point in the future because of what you did 20,
From
30 years from now. They were
again.
like, damn,
Right.
who would have thought that a Marley would now be a Marley that is renowned around the world?
And where did that name, where did that originate? In what sort of community did that come from?
Mhm.
Frenchtown.
Indeed, indeed. That's
Right?
right.
Just think,
Good reminder.
look
Yeah,
at where that came from.
yeah.
Frenchtown.
Yeah,
Nobody,
The Nazareth of Jamaica, boy. Yeah.
what good could come out of Trenchtown?
The Nazareth of Jamaica, the Nazarene has arisen. Yes.
Ah, so it is time that we as a people remind ourselves of our greatness and
Right.
remind the young people that are coming after us of our greatness. And
Yes.
it is important to document our stories. And this is what I'm talking to the young men about, young women, everyone, that we have a story to tell. And what is your story going to say? What role did you play? Did you play small, or did you, push the boundaries of your own beliefs and the beliefs of the people among you?
Exactly, your peers. Before we go, I don't know if we have enough time here, Empress, but I want to share with you a poem I wrote that my granddaughter inspired. The same one who said, "Go, Papa, go."
Ah,
And
nice.
what's interesting about this piece is that when I came to the States, I started to diversify my structure of my poetry, not just in the dub tradition, because I grew up wanting to be like a Mutabaruka or a
Okay.
Oko Onoro or my favorite, the late great Mikey Smith. I
Mm,
want to be one of those guys. But when I
okay.
came here and I found my voice said, I can be more. I can have a mixed catalog of different
Mm,
styles. I can do some romantic piece. I have a
ah,
piece in Spanish
okay.
that I've memorized in Spanish. So when I go to a school and my Hispanics are there and they do it and I do it, they're like, oh my God. And they're drawn to me. I'm shocked. They think I'm bilingual, but I only know
Ah,
the poem in Spanish. But let me read this for you. It's part of my catalog of work that is not just in the Jamaican dialect, which I'm very proud of. Because
sure,
Miss
sure,
Sue and Mass Ran and
sure,
all those
sure.
guys, you know. But
But
it's
you're just,
called Ari. Her name is Ariana. 7 months before you were born, we were introduced. Without words or sounds, I watched spellbound the movement of God speaking to me through you in full view. As one of his own unveils the beauty and mystery of Ariana's Odyssey. And assured by that journey, I was no longer torn. You shall be born. So I reached out to touch the tiny signals, listen to your quiet voice, and stare in the unfinished stars in your eyes that compels me to follow every step of your feet, every pulse of your heartbeat, and every journey your hand shall reach. And every unspoken word your voice will ever speak, I shall follow you because I am no longer torn. You shall be born with the
mm,
gifts and blessings to inspire minds, transform hearts, and infuse the Spirit of God who reminds us this is my beloved in whom I'm well pleased. And as you take your place in the world, never lose sight of your Nubian beauty. Never lose sight of your birthright of greatness. Never lose sight of your heritage of courage, even if you have to stand alone. So keep
mm.
going, Ariana. Pave that pathway of excellence, and the world shall follow your lead. Ah,
Wow.
I
You,
saw the ultrasound before she was born, and right away, Empress was like, no, that is greatness already foregone. She has to be born. That
well,
same child came and said, go, Papa, go.
so, wow.
That's
The
gracious.
circle, full circle again.
Yeah,
And
this is good.
we talk about synchronicities. That's beautiful. And at that time, it sounded as though you were torn
I
between.
was. I
Wow.
was implicitly saying to my daughter, you may want to abort, And like I said, I pray for forgiveness because that's a life. She didn't ask to be here. Who am I to say that you're going to take that life?
Yeah.
And that life turned out to be the life that saved my life.
True.
You know
Isn't
what I'm
that
saying?
important?
And I'm not knocking abortion. I am not. Because as a guy, that's not my place. I'm
Yeah.
only saying that I thought I was looking out for her. Because
Yes.
the struggles when you're on your own. She was in school, have a job, and raising a child. That's not some easy feat.
Yeah. No,
So kudos to her that the kid is gonna be 10 years old in 5 months. And she's telling me, go, Papa, go.
Papa,
God
go.
is beautiful, yo.
Man,
God is
man,
beautiful.
man.
God is beautiful.
Absolutely. True. And for
Yeah,
us,
man. So I performed this for her, by the way, Empress. The first time I saw tears. I think she got it. I'm like,
yeah.
she was like your group in Lakewood.
Beautiful. It
You
was
get
what you
this?
said moved me. It really was speaking to me as well. And I'm sure anyone who can hear it as an encouragement because, just this project with Haile
Yeah.
Selassie High, I spent some time with the team yesterday before I left, and there were situations that are going on there that the staff is having to deal with, very, very challenging. And even
Wow.
them, they need the encouragement and support. So I've worked in an alternative ed situation where students don't have a lot of parental support, and a lot of the burden of that falls on the staff with their limited resources. And so as I listened and observed the surroundings and the needs of the school, just supporting them felt
Right.
insurmountable to me. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what I can do to
Mm-hmm.
help. And so, of course, as with any walk of faith, you start to wonder about the possibilities and have a little bit of doubt creeping in. But I was encouraged this morning. I'm glad that we have had this conversation so soon after leaving what seems like such an insurmountable circumstance for those young men and the staff at the school.
May I share one last poem and then I guess we may go because I have an appointment in 25 minutes myself. Again, as I diversify my catalog and my portfolio of poetry, confession, I'm going to share I share with you a very private thing, but it can be a good source for those going through a similar challenge in their own lives. I thought about taking my own life, like suicide, in 1996. I've lost my kids. I was homeless. My weight dropped to 135 pounds. I'm already not a big guy, and I'm going to lose some more weight to 135. They were calling me Ethiopian and Somalian. That's how skinny I was. And then these words came to me. No, I'm not making this up, Empress. God won't give up on you. He's been knocking upon your door to give you a place where life means more. A place you go when you're feeling down, you might as well just sink in the ground. But if his name be lifted up, he'll bring all men and women to the mountaintop. And when that Satan tries to seduce, just give him the palm he has to rebuke. Because God won't give up on you. God won't give up on you. Living my life in hell and swear to God, I'm living well. I tried to run. I tried to hide. Some of the time, some suicide. But the mercy of God came gushing down and gave me a reason to hang around. God won't give up on you. God won't give up on you. And now I can feel the peace. From the worries of the world, my life must ease. I feel so blessed I could swim the seven seas. My faith in God is my remedy. Turn your back on Calvary. Just feel the power as he sets you free. Because God won't give up on you. But don't you ever give up on him. Blessing and love. Blessing and love.
Wow. Definitely would love to have a copy of this book. I'm so glad that you're sharing the details of it and what it is about. It's needed at this time where the world and people are living in fear and feeling like there are no options. But the urge to serve is
You like that, don't you?
redeemed. I love it because I'm a servant. I have done community work all over, you know, in Marion County. This sort of thing I've done in my communities already. It is very empowering and uplifting. It's a wonderful path to serve.
Indeed, it is.
You run out of ideas and run out of hope. Serve.
And let me put on the record that part proceeds of my book will go to different charities, my philanthropic ventures. Of course, flagship Jamaica, especially Haile Selassie. That's a foregone conclusion.
Sure.
But beyond Jamaica and Selassie, many of my donors, if not the majority, are based in Florida and the US. So we're going to be giving a lot to those network of resources and instruments to facilitate giving scholarships to people in need right here in Florida and beyond. So it's not just a cause to put in my pocket. I've been too blessed to do that, way too blessed. And this I'm doing is not just because I want to look cool or cute or make it some fad. It's a covenant. It's an obligation. It's a divine order. I have to give back because I've been given so much. To be continued.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Glen, it has been tremendously inspiring. Thank you. This went better than I thought in terms of how
me too. I loved it.
So good. It is such a great honor to be back in your sphere of engagement. I don't know, you know, we started 20-something years ago and here we are again. And